Welcome, everybody. I am so fired up. I can't wait for you to see what we have in store tonight. 98 teams applied, and the 6 that you're going to see tonight and the judges you're going to meet are some of the best we've ever had. So I'm going to get out of the way as fast as possible. But for those who have never seen the Sandcastle Startups Challenge Invitational at Wyoming and Wyoming Blockchain Stampede, welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. You can share the link. We are in the Laramie Hall. If you go to wyominghackathon.io or tell a friend, they can click the Watch Now button and click on Laramie Hall and watch the next 2 hours live. We're giving away a total of $25,000. But more importantly than that, we're showing you what the future is going to look like through these 6 amazing startups and their technology and their businesses. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about our judges because sometimes, we don't like being judged, but, other times who we're being judged by is pretty cool. So tonight we've got some of the best that we could find in the business, and we're humbled that they're here. They're donating their time. They're not being paid, and time is the most precious asset, and credibility is even more. And so I'm going to start off with Scott Stornetta, who hopefully most of you know. And if you do not know, I had the pleasure of meeting him in DC. Scott Stornetta is the co-inventor with Stuart Haber of the blockchain. Basically, in 1991, the first patents were filed. Satoshi referenced him 3 of 9 times, I believe, in the white paper. Scott, thank you for being here, sir.
Happy to be here.
Amy James is here. She's a judge because she won last year. So what we like to do is keep it all in the family. She is the co-founder with Devin James of Open Index Protocol in the Alexandria labs, and she's just doing some amazing work in the space to liberate us from the broken internet that we all have. Amy James, thank you for being here, coming back this year to judge this time.
Thrilled to be here, Chris. Thank you so much. It's always a good time.
Awesome. Taras can't fly in because he's from Toronto, but we're happy to have him here. And Taras heads up business development and a bunch of other things at Core Scientific. And for those who don't know Core Scientific, they split their time between the future of AI and business applications. And they, at least from my understanding, are the largest data and hosting and mining operation for Bitcoin in all of the Western Hemisphere. Taras, thank you for being here, sir.
Thanks for the invitation, Chris. Really happy to be here.
Awesome. And Jeff Burton, a friend of mine who I met years ago and who is a legend in the esports business and many other things. Jeff Burton, a Stanford guy who's very proud of that, and rightfully so. Jeff, thank you for being here. It's always good to see you again. We don't do it long enough. And as a co-founder of Electronic Arts, I think some of the teams that you see tonight will benefit from, or maybe be hurt by your questions. We'll see. We'll find out soon.
Thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure.
All right, Corey Billington, who is my partner in crime, teaching a course on blockchain and entrepreneurship and Internet 4.0 at the University of Wyoming. He's a prolific guy as well. He's returning this year. Corey Billington, thank you for being back to judge again.
You're welcome. Thanks, Chris.
And Connor Prochaska, who is the CCO and manages a small little budget of about $18 billion of your and my taxpayer money as it relates to innovation and R&D at the DOE labs and federal government level. So, guys, it doesn't get more weaponized as far as the judging goes than Sandcastle Startups Challenge this year. Connor, thank you for being here. Thank you for flying into Laramie and bringing your energy to the market as well as to this challenge tonight.
Absolutely happy to be here, and thanks for having us, Chris.
All right, so without further ado, we are going to get out of you're going to meet the teams shortly. We've got the first battle between Vinter Capital and EST Global. The second battle will be between Streambed Media and Elevated Games, and the third battle will be True Reply and Engrave. We're going to start with bracket number 1. Vinter, are we ready?
We are ready.
Awesome. EST Global, are we ready?
Yes.
For those watching from America, these guys are so serious. EST is tuning in tonight and pitching tonight from New Delhi, India. And the Vinter gang is coming in from Stockholm. So this is truly a global dissension of some of the best technology out in the market into Wyoming Blockchain Stampede. And judges, are we ready with your score sheets for Vinter and EST Global in round 1?
Yep, ready.
All right, so I'm going to flip this coin. This is a commemorative UAE coin from Dubai because the world will open up again post-COVID. And when it does, the best of the last several years will all get a bid to come compete during the World's Fair next year once it's reopened after the postponement. So we're going to flip a Dubai coin, and I'm going to go to Vinter for the call. So Marco, would you like to call it?
Yeah,
Heads or tails, sir, when it's in the air?
heads.
It is tails. So that means, Sindhu, you can go first or you can go second.
Okay, we go first.
Okay, so we'll give our production team a second to give me the thumbs up that we are ready. Video's ready. Awesome. Okay, so the first 5-minute pitch video will begin now.
Ex-banker, I accept most humbly that the rise of fintech has sounded a death knell for the banking supremacy and their ego. In the fintech world, we do talk of interoperability all the time for ease of business and performance. But here, I would like to present a humble saga of integrated fintech rural development, ESD co-op. Let me take you to a small journey where we married technologies to banking and finance and rural areas to create the foundation for an integrated development. Diagnosis of ailments. We analyze the basic problems, the traditional ones as well as the new ones, being the technical illiteracy and proliferation. The Technofin assessment summary was that most of the rural economies are based on financial doles in form of grants, subsidies, government schemes. What happens thereafter, the cash is consumed and the clock arms come back to the same start point 12. Creation of strategy. The 4-pronged strategy was capital aggregation, capital utilization, capital replenishment, and marketplace. Unfolding their strategy. To create this comprehensive integrated digital platform, several startups were brought to ESD ecosystem with seed funding as well. InfoMicrofin is the micro-lending platform. Advisory Mandi and Invest19 are the stock market operators. Tramo is the money transfer platform. Cashless Bazaar is a barter platform. Now all of these have been brought together under branches. The first theme-based neobank having agency agreement with ICICI Bank in India. The integration process is on for the launch in November 2020. Fully armed with this and agent network, we now penetrate deep in the countryside to move to the final frontier of commodification of agriculture and corporatization of the rural economy. Roadmap and prognosis looks positive. ESD Co-op is the cutting-edge DApp, the decentralized autonomous platform to corporatize rural areas with the creation of new wealth. We started stitching together different technologies to have a proof of concept, and after the 2-year performance in India, now we have the proof of success as well. We believe we can help to beat the social pyramid, become a social diamond structure with real-term growth. Goal appears nearer, yet problems are multifarious. So moving slowly yet firmly. Capital aggregation. Large number of cooperative banks and rural banks are brought together, creating interconnections to act as a super funder. Capital utilization, lending platform. The combined capital of the cooperatives and rural banks mix becomes the lender to the rural industries. Capital replenishment, rural exchange. The rural loan portfolio is converted to a 4-year digital asset like bonds, receipts, tokens, available through the rural exchanges to HNIs and other investors. This liquidates bank loans, improving their financial stability, while borrowers get a long-term debt with lower interest rate. The app and wallet for eRural Invest is ready with various investment products like commodity and mineral derivatives. Already the Securities Exchange in India has started talking about rural exchanges, so we are safe in the regulatory zone as well. Marketplace. ESD Cashless Rural Market acts as on-spot settlement platform for rural product against cash or barter for some other product in collaboration with Cashless Bazaar. Our tech guru and solution is IDEA, the artificial intelligence for decentralized investment application. The real brain based on blockchain, supply chain management, settlement system, food chain management, inventory management, fully AI-backed processing and data center for us. I invite you all, tech teams and organizations and community members, to join our mission of transformation and development. Thank you.
All right, so judges, we have our question clocks going now. Scott Stornetta, why don't we start with you on what you think about the banking business?
So it seems like such a broad opportunity. Where do you start?
We have already started. And as I presented, excuse me.
So do you want to describe that pilot you mentioned?
Yes, we started different verticals last 2 years earlier, and right now we are combining all of them. So everything is happening in India, and we have already finished the agency agreement with ICICI. The integration process is on. So November 2020, it will be fully implemented.
Thank you.
Next question.
How are you going to get buy-in from the end rural producers of this agriculture that you're building an entire ecosystem around? And how are you going to ensure that they know that there's transparency in the system for value to flow from them into the purchasers?
Yeah, we have created the full, we call it Kisan chain. That is the blockchain for farmers, on which like all their product is put in, and we have already registered EST cashless rural market. And fortunately for us, Government of India has come out with a regulation which has opened the rural market. So farmers are allowed to sell either with the government minimum support price, or they can go to any private buyers as well. So that gives us the latitude to go ahead and push into the rural market and provide the benefits to the farmers, as well as keep the record with it, because everything is happening on the blockchain. And since it is the market, which is we call cashless, it is a barter system. So they have the option to either take cash, or they can switch over their product for any other product, which they we are having a marketplace also wherein they can buy anything against their product. So full record, full option to farmers, and on spot payment, so that they don't come back feeling cheated or having blocked opportunities with all these developments. Thank you.
Who are your most attractive customers and why?
The most attractive customers are, of course, the farmers right now. But what we are trying to do, we are trying to reach the areas which we can categorize scale 3 and scale 4, so that we can create the financial inclusion and we can really bring them into the system, because they are out of the system. Because the whole ethic of this platform is that the development, concept of development has always been adopting trickle down theory. So we are changing the development model also. The reform should start from below, and the lower category, lower strata should move up. Then only the pyramid can become a diamond structure. So they are my most loved, you can say, participants. Thank you.
We also target other markets in Latin America, including Peru, for example. And in that case, it's gold miners. And the way we target them is through cooperatives that we have a local team there, and we go talk in person with the cooperatives that group all the small scale miners, and we reach out to them, and it's we make sure there's no cheating because the cooperatives are the ones that give them loans to grow. So there's a good intention behind everyone to grow, basically.
And
And,
whatever the gold reserve we have created, I mentioned also, we have created bonds against that so that we can fully monetize their livelihood, their community, and it should not be an exploitative mining system. So we are taking into consideration each and everything. Every action, economic action, must have a humane face. It should not be guided by profitability only. That's the fundamental issue here.
All right.
Uh,
5 minutes is up. Next round. Thank you. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So we will queue up Vinter, and I will wait for the team to tell me that we're ready to go. And when we're ready, we're going to count down. And all right, here we go. Vinter Capitals, 5-minute pitch. Judges ready? Are you guys ready?
Let's go.
Awesome. Here we go. Vinter Capital.
The world of passive investments is growing, and so is passive crypto investing. But although crypto investments are growing, they are largely stuck in the retail category, but institutions they want in. A study from last year shows that out of 800 institutional investors in Europe, 400 want to invest in crypto if there would be a mature and institutional enough investment vehicle for them. One of the hurdles in creating these institutional products is the index, which, according to the benchmarks regulation, must be provided from a provider that is approved by the European Securities and Markets Authority, a process that can take years. Vinter is an ESMA-approved crypto index provider, and we, together with fund managers, issuers, and exchanges, are ready to create institutional-grade crypto products to further the global adoption of crypto assets. We're currently 3 founders, 6 team members, and with a board of 9. Jacob, our CEO, has a triple degree in statistics, finance, and mathematics, and 4 years of working experience from Nordea, the largest investment bank in the Nordics. Håkan is our CTO and has a master's degree in mathematics and worked for the Swedish government building indices. He was also a researcher at the Stockholm School of Economics, where he, Jacob, and Professor Robin Tegland studied the societal impacts of blockchain technology. My name is Marco, and I have a master's degree in law, and I used to work at Lindahl, a business law firm in Stockholm. Our board consists of professors, entrepreneurs, and business leaders from companies such as 21 Shares, the leading issuer of exchange-traded crypto products in Europe, Arcane Assets, a Norwegian crypto investment firm, Swift, the global payment provider, and the Stockholm School of Economics, a leading university in the Nordics. Our business model is straightforward. We do something that has been working for decades and apply it to a new market. Therefore, we apply the existing business model to this new market as well. There are 3 players in this picture, and we are to the left, and our customers is in the middle. So we are a B2B company, and we sell directly to funds, asset managers, and exchanges. We've been in business for about a year. In that time, we have been admitted to Sting, the leading startup accelerator in the Nordics, raised $200,000, applied to become an ESMA-approved index provider, struck a distribution deal with Reuters, and built not only a capability to provide index values, but an entire technical backend so we don't need to use external data sources. We strive to democratize crypto, and we strive to do that in a different way. By targeting the very infrastructure of the financial system, we believe that we can make crypto as an asset widely accepted and adopted. The energy efficiency issues of proof of concept are known. And by creating crypto-agnostic indices, we make sure that as the market moves towards more energy efficiency, we move with it. Our main competitors are the incumbents MSCI, FTSE, and S&P. They don't do crypto indices as of today. And probably for the same reason, large banks are hesitant to offer crypto products. Existing markets are profitable enough, and the crypto market is, as of now, quite small for them. Then we have MVIS and CF Benchmarks. CF Benchmarks were acquired by Kraken last year for $100 million and are now strongly tied to that exchange. The fact that 90% of investments in European exchange-traded crypto comes from Sweden, combined with us being the only Swedish crypto index provider, puts us in a geographical advantage. We are where the market is today. We are proud over our business partnership with Reuters Refinitiv. And we are proud of the hundreds of pages and thousands of hours to have been approved by the ESMA. But this is just the beginning. Now we want to capture this opportunity and start growing the market for crypto index products. And lastly, for all of you here, don't forget to support the ecosystem. If you believe in growing the entire crypto industry, both retail and institutional, and believe you have experience to bring to the team, do not hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.
All right, judges, questions. Maybe we should start with Taras this time since this is in your area.
Yeah, so what do you do when like an ICE decides to launch an index fund or ticker that competes directly with you guys, or like a Bloomberg or any one of these other institutional offerings that are in the space, or Capital IQ, or I could list them on and on.
Absolutely. So always when you're talking about smaller companies or startups, you have that normal question: what happens if you think the biggest player in the field does that? And so what you want to do is you want to innovate, and you want to be faster than these big companies are innovating. So in order for us to do something, we just need to decide, okay, let's do a volatility index, let's do a Bitcoin index, let's do a market cap index. In order for S&P to do this, it must go through the boards, it must go through the entire process, it must go through the entire organization that is S&P. So of course, they could do that, and they could do that tomorrow. But what we are betting on is that the market as it is now is so small for them, but still has so much potential that us being this early is our advantage. Our agility and our flexibility is our advantage. And being one of the very first ever to have a crypto index provider license in Europe shows that.
What are your long-term competitive advantages, and how are you going to defend them?
So I would say that if you look at the competition right now, we are one of the very first regulated ESMA-approved crypto index providers, as I mentioned. And the way we approach sales is much more like a SaaS company than a traditional index provider like Standard & Poor's. And we got approved by ESMA just mid-June of this year and are deploying this strategy right now. So until very recently, people have been investing in crypto either through like direct token issuances, ICOs, or like secondary markets such as Coinbase or Kraken. And this has made the space stuck in the retail. What we think is by making it easier to buy indices, making it much more like a SaaS product, we can also be faster. So also, without mentioning that the retention rate for index providers in the market is 97%. And this is looking at the traditional index space. And this has to do with when you have an index provider, you write them into your prospectus, you issue a product. In order to change index provider, you need to close down the product, pay out the money, and then you have to pick a new product, have a new prospectus, and lure back the money. And that's a quite cumbersome process. So there is quite a lock-in effect in the index model as is. So being early is important, therefore.
So you've laid out a good go-to-market strategy with existing financial institutions in the market, or are you still working on that? Like, how are you going to be targeting the right players with the right price point, with the right offering? I mean,
absolutely. So we are using a method actually from predictable revenue, and it's about Salesforce, how they built their organization. And we look at the market in two ways. So we look at existing market, and then we're talking about existing exchange-traded crypto products in Europe, because you may know that Bitwise and other in the States have been trying to launch ETFs and haven't been successful so far. But in Europe, there is a couple, and that's about 1 billion in AUM. So we are talking to basically all of them right now, and we have an ongoing discussion. We just had a press release with the largest institutional issuer of financial instruments for exchange-traded crypto products called 21 Shares, and they launched on Nordnet, which is a broker in Sweden, this Monday. So we have an ongoing relationship with them, but the real VC case is the future, because according to the study, at least 70 times larger is the potential. So this market will grow to $70 billion market in just 5 years. And this is the asset managers who have said they want to look into crypto. And if you take 0.5% of their AUM, then that is $70 billion. So that's about the potential we're looking at.
What's the best advice you would give to one of the large incumbents about how to compete with you?
Oh, just go fast. I think that's because of the retention rate, because when you once you have launched a product and that has started to accumulate some AUM, then it's really hard to change an index provider, and there is no reason really to do that. So what we are doing is we're looking at, okay, there are some players and we are so focused on crypto and they're not. So the more likely scenario is that we get to grow for some years and then they come and perhaps they look at us.
That's the end. Sorry, we're brutal when it comes to cutting you off, Marco. Thanks, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get excited. Sorry.
Hey, you know, we get it. We get it. So, all right, I'm going to give the judges a little bit of time here so that they can tally up their score sheets. For those watching this, you understand. Oh, the rooster's still going nuts on me. Sorry about that. It's got a mind of its own. So as I dance a little bit here while the judges are tallying their score sheets, what they're going to do is they're going to put a score of either 1, 2, 4, or 5 for each of the 10 slides or themes, as it were. So if you're watching this for the first time, you saw that everybody's doing the same 10 slides. They have 5 minutes to go through that. What they put in the middle and how they speak to those 10 themes is up to them. But that way it makes it easy to create an apples and oranges comparison for the judges, hopefully. So the best score that someone can get coming out of the pitch video is a 50. The worst score somebody can get is a 10. The Q&A is graded separately in a binary fashion. So each judge right now is thinking about who they felt did better in the Q&A portion, and they're going to make what's called a judge's choice. That's worth 5 points. So if you win the judge's points, you're making up 5 extra points on top of your potential 50 if you had a perfect score on the pitch. Are my judges getting close? I'm looking at the scores coming in, and so I'm gonna look at these. Are anybody judging need a little bit more time? Okay, so 1, 2, 3. I am seeing Amy. I've got Amy. All right, so I've got one vote with a score of 40 to 33 going to Vinter. I've got another vote with a score of 44 to 11 going to EST. So one for Vinter, one for EST. I've got a score of 28 to 22 going to Vinter. This is close. I've got a score of 47 to 22 going to Vinter. So therefore, by the law of 3 out of 5, congratulations, Vinter Capital. You are moving on to the show and tell round. And congratulations for EST Global, because your business is so big and so enormous that it's hard to put in 5 minutes, but you did a great job. And for those of you who are watching this, please, after today, go to wyohackathon.io tomorrow. There's a Sandcastle Startups Alley in the VR Expo environment. There's videos of this stuff in action. The demo reels are playing in those booths. And for those of you who want to find out more about these companies and their entrepreneurs and speak to them, as they get eliminated. It's always the worst part of my job is to eliminate anybody. Please go to wyohackathon.io and click on the nav bar that says enter in VR, and you'll be able to go into the expo and learn more about EST Global. Thank you, Sindhu. Thank you, Martin, for giving it your best best wishes to you. Vinter, congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Battle number 2. So battle number 2, let's stream it up. Streambed Media and Elevated Games. Are we ready?
Ready.
Okay. Jaron, are you ready?
I am ready.
Jenna, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, judges, are we good? We got the scoring sheets for Streambed Media and Elevated Games in front of you, yes? Okay. Coin flip time. Jenna, I'm going to give you the honors. Ladies first. So, head or tails?
Tails.
It is heads. Man, no one's won that yet. So you get to choose, Jaron. You want to kick or you want to receive?
Kick.
Aha, all right, Jenna, you're first. Okay, so we are going to queue up Streambed Media's 5-minute pitch, and as soon as we are ready, it's going to go live. All right, Streambed Media, here we go.
Hi there, my name is Jenna Pilgrim and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Streambed, a publishing tool and analytics engine for the social sharing future. So today there is no succinct way to understand how our content travels online. This causes a lot of problems for content creators, for brands, for advertisers, as they're unable to see all of the different versions of their content online. This could be memes, compilations, GIFs, all the rest of it. We don't know where things are repurposed to. So Streambed is a media linking software that generates correlated analytics directly from the accounts of our users to allow them to delegate analytics to anyone else who may be involved in the creation of their video. So we help link creators to their videos, creators to their collaborators, and content to its downstream versions. We do this using the Flow blockchain via the Open Index protocol. The Open Index protocol is a public index that publishes the metadata of who, what, where, when, and with whom content is published. We use this powerful index to publish the information of any content that comes through our engine, and then we pull down the information to then give it back to the user. Here's our team. Myself, Jenna Pilgrim, Joseph Fischella of the Flow blockchain, Bill Rositsky, formerly of Adobe, Michael Casey is the Chief Content Officer at CoinDesk, Jen Sanasi is our resident influencer expert, and Lance Kuntz is an expert in copyright and IP. Our business model is similar to that of MailChimp, where corporations pay for the number of accounts that they want to be connected to. It's free for users, so that's influencers, normal people, whatever. You could see this at scale, similar to Lululemon Sweat Collective, where they're able to connect to all the different people who are posting about Lululemon, and Lululemon is able to reward those users for doing that. In our product roadmap, we've been able to validate our proof of concept. We did that in February. And then over the last 7 months, we've been able to build and launch an app with YouTube and Twitter publishing, including an extensive app verification process from Google. Our milestones coming up include Instagram functionality, Facebook functionality, and a mobile app release, as well as several large partnerships that I'm happy to talk about. As far as impact goes, there are many different ways that analytics can be gamed, and we want to make sure that we do our part to steward reputation online. To stop things like bots or misinformation, fake news, fake accounts, we believe that we are able to take the high road in correlating more pieces of data and enabling Streambed users to connect say if someone connects in 3 accounts and 2 email addresses, it's very likely that they are a person, and then they're probably going to act with integrity. If they then interact with another user who has 5 accounts connected and 2 email addresses, then they're very likely a person as well. And so we're able to create this community of users who have agreed to do the right thing. And then political campaigns, I mean, we are a tool that helps bring people together, and we believe that stewarding these reputation mechanisms is really important. Our competition includes, from the Web 2 side, your traditional social media publishers, but we find that the analytics correlation is very difficult for these people. On the Web3 side, we actually believe that we can play a key stewarding role to help publish to whatever is the decentralized YouTube, decentralized Facebook, whatever ends up being the dominant platforms over there. So we can help them with you. As far as COVID goes, our first brag is that we were able to grow our team from a team of 4 founders in February to a team of 18 now of dedicated team members, and maintaining a burn of under 5K a month. So we're very excited about that. We were able to do that by morphing into this lockdown relevant use case. We graduated as one of only 9 blockchain startups to graduate from the Creative Destruction Lab. With our virtual conferences, events, these highly collaborative organizations is how we were able to get traction. On traction, CoinDesk has signed a 2-year agreement to publish content from their various conferences, and 3 other organizations are signing this month. We have a very healthy funnel of everyone and their dog who's created a webinar to publish all this information to the blockchain. We want everyone to sign up to our platform. Go to streambedmedia.com/friends, and it's free for humans, always. And use that to publish to your social media channels. We all need to work together to build the future of immutable analytics. I hope you'll come along.
Okay, it's time for Q&A. Who wants to go first? Scott.
Oh, you might be muted.
You're on mute, Scott.
Long tail. How are you going to convince your competitors to cooperate with you rather than compete with you?
Are you talking about the Web 2 competitors or Web 3?
I'm talking more about the Web 2, but I'd be happy for you to be responsive on both sides.
So right now, Web 2 publishers like Hootsuite, like social media, like Loomly, have no way to verify that the analytics that they're getting are actually correct or that actually do come from the right source. And so we believe that we can provide an immutability layer for them. And they're also unable to correlate analytics across platforms. It's something that historically social media providers like Hootsuite and Loomly and Sprout Social haven't been able to do. So using the blockchain, because we publish to the index, that actually acts as a normalizer that makes it so that all of the content is in the same language, so that when we present it to the user, it actually gets to be sort of all correlated together. Did that answer your question?
I've got a question. Recently, I think a politician described Facebook as a cesspool of disinformation. And I don't quite get how you're going to prevent that from affecting you.
So the reason that it was called a cesspool is because all content right now is treated the same. Whether I have one video and then I repost it across my 5 platforms, I collaborate with 5 different people, they post it to their 5 platforms. The internet understands those all as like videos as islands. And so if all these little videos are little islands and they're not correlated together, then yeah, of course it's going to be a cesspool of like awful content and the worst parts of the internet. But if we're able to establish these reputation mechanisms across platforms, then we can actually, again, correlate accounts together. So like if I'm connected to Amy and Amy has 3 social media accounts and 2 emails, and I have 4 social media accounts and 1 email, then those correlations together they can correlate a step down. So if I'm connected to Amy on Facebook and on Twitter and on somewhere else, like the engagement becomes so much richer because we're able to quantify relationship strength. And if we're able to do that, then we're able to correctly incentivize our institutions to play their reputable role. There obviously is a role in deciding the reputation of many different institutions, and this traditionally falls back to our public institutions and regulation to decide who is real and who is fake. But at the end of the day, there isn't really real and fake anymore. There's like kind of real or more real or more. So we're aiming to have this reputation layer play a role to make things at least a little bit more real for people. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
So my question was originally around monetization and gamification of the platform itself. But beyond your subscription model, what are you guys thinking of from a monetization perspective? Is it selling data analytics? And going further from there, are there any concerns around reinforcing this echo chamber that everyone's talking about that social media has become?
So we, I guess that I'll take the monetization question first. So on monetization, with the foundation of companies pay to be connected to the number of people they want to be connected to, one of our strategic partnerships that we're working on right now is with a very large media buyer, like a $17-18 billion media buyer, and they would like to use our tech to actually connect directly with users and pay them per piece of content that they produce for the data of how a video performed on somebody else's feed. So I know that's a little bit convoluted, but how this would work is it works similar to a Google AdWords spend set. You would say, I want to spend $10,000 this month rewarding or not even influencers, just rewarding people with the right metrics for producing content about my product. So I make a makeup tutorial, I have my lipstick, and I post it and I tag the brand. And then that brand is actually given the opportunity to pay me directly, not for creating content, which is what the TikTok Creator Fund and Facebook has a creator piece as well that rewards based on views, and all views metrics can be gamed 100% of the time. But this is based on relationship strength, and the amount that you're compensated is based on how much how well you're doing on the platform.
Okay.
Thanks, Russ.
Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, judges.
A chicken.
The chicken is angry when you go over 5 minutes. All right, good job, guys. Okay, so we got her slides being scored. We've got our Q&A being scored, and we're teeing up Elevated Games and Jaron Hines. Production when we're ready. Here we go, Elevated Games.
Sandcastle Challenge 2020. Jaron Hines here, founder of Elevated Games. I want to ask you guys a quick question. How many of you have been shopping during COVID online and think that everything you buy is 100% authentic? Well, I hate to tell you this, but 1 in 4 products is actually counterfeit. If you don't believe those numbers, the government actually did a study in 2018 and proved that 2 out of 5 branded products are, in fact, when purchased online, counterfeit. What's the solution? We started out with this tangible watch that is Ultraman schemed, color schemed, and I wanted to not only append a digital asset to it, but also prove that it's authentic. How do we do this? We use a blockchain, NFC, and non-fungible tokens. Why blockchain? It's immutable, irreversible, transparent. Why NFC? With iOS 14 that released last Wednesday, now you no longer have to have a third-party app to read these NFC tags. You're going to start to see them everywhere. We also had in our mind that we wanted to make the user onboarding grandma-proof, if you will. So if my grandma can scan or tap this watch to her smartphone and prove that it's authentic, then we've won. Here's our team. It's distributed all the way from Connecticut to Playa Vista, California, where I'm located. What's the business model? First off, customers, watch collectors, Ultraman fans, NFT, because there's digital assets appended to this, and gamers. Where are the revenue sources? The biggest one is the upfront retail sale of this watch. Later on, there will be fees on exchanges and royalty fees charged for the patents that we filed because of this project. What's the cost structure? What are the costs involved? Well, it wasn't cheap to produce this watch. It's a very nice 42mm bezel. Then we had to purchase the NFC tags, spin up software to encode and embed encryption into these NFC tags, and also blockchain storage. Here's the watch itself. It's available in 3 different colors. We only produce 1,000 of them. They're available for $585. You can try one on yourself at ultraman.watch, which leads me into our timeline. We came up with this concept in June, and because of augmented reality in July, we were able to try this watch on, and you can too if you go to ultraman.watch and see what it looks like on the wrist. This really expedited the whole production process because we saw it on our wrist and we liked it, and we sent it off to production. We launched the site 10 days ago. We've already pre-sold over 100 pieces, and shipping begins early October. Our competition, what do we base this on? First off, user onboarding. How easy is it to tether this to the proof of authenticity? The second was the technology stack. How secure is it? How well built and how rapid can transactions happen on it? We like to think we're the best because we really focus on making the user onboarding seamless and very smooth. And also the technology stack is very secure when it comes to encryption. What were some of the unintentional consequences? Well, we did such a deep dive because we're real nerds, we're real coders, that we found multiple business use cases. This solution, which started as a watch paired to a digital asset, grew into a true awareness of the power of counterfeit and how toxic it is on the world. This technology that we've developed is so powerful. It's not just about watches and purses and fake car parts. There's people counterfeiting prescription drugs, and this could potentially save lives. So we do have a 3-year digital right to the 44th biggest media franchise in the world, Ultraman. Ultraman is bigger than Superman, Star Trek, League of Legends, and Sesame Street. Marvel released a comic last week. It's sold out everywhere. If you can find one of those, go ahead and get a hold of me, and we'll work something out. With this product, we're already revenue generating, patent pending, and we have a ton of momentum going. 3 patents were filed around this project, and we even started a new legal entity here in Wyoming called Elevated Merchandise.
All right, so that's what happens when you hit 5 minutes on the pitch video. You get cut off, Jaron. So we're going to Q&A. Ask away, judges. I think I'm going to start with Jeff Burton, since this is in your neck of the wood familiarity.
Yeah, you bet. I don't quite understand the connection to the gaming industry. Review that for me again.
Sure. So this tangible watch, when I scan it to my iPhone, pulls up a render of a in-game character. Now you can make those scarce or authentic. There's a lot of different plays here. What we wanted to focus on was just proving, appending a digital asset that was game relevant, while at the same time having a proof of authenticity. So I'll ask you guys, how many of you right now with the watch on your wrist, can you prove that it's authentic? Cool. What's the value of that? And I was late on the 5 minutes because I was caught in LA traffic. I know you're familiar with that one.
No, authenticity is key when it comes to high value personal items for sure, especially luxury pieces, right? Yeah, there's a ton of blockchain projects out there that are doing, proof of authenticity across the supply chain. So I totally understand that value proposition. What's your target market? What's your marketing strategy? Go to market? How are you just piggybacking off of Ultraman? Is there anything else that's beyond Ultraman? Is that just your way in?
Well, Ultraman was, and that's a part of having a licensing deal. Ultraman fans it's low hanging fruit, but ultimately we're seeing a lot of watch collectors buy this. And as I said in the presentation, everybody that we've shown this to, there's a ton of use cases around it, and they want to use it in the supply chain management. So Ultraman fans, watch collectors, and then digital asset collectors. We actually just signed a deal with a strategic partner that will really accelerate. It was the missing link. We have revenue, we have patent applications. Now our go-to-market with this partner will be the all stars aligned.
You really blew through the team slide. Can you just give me a few more seconds about the team?
Sure. So I had in there Liam Sleen, who's our game designer. He was actually the winner of our challenge last year at the Wyoming Hackathon. I'll be talking about that tomorrow. Also in there was our graphic designer, super talented young individual, did our 3D booth. Somebody you don't really have to ask or give a lot of details. He just shows up and delivers high quality products. And then the third person was Royce, and he is our business development and investor relations individual. He was actually supposed to come out here with me, but something popped up. So we're a distributed team. We use WebRTC and Zoom, if you will. And, we've been doing this for a while. COVID didn't really slow us down. I mean, we've been doing distributed for a while. WebRTC's been around for quite some time. So yeah, strong team. It's not that big, but it's people who show up and perform. And that's all we ask for.
Corey Billington, maybe one quick one on supply chain, 30 seconds left. You're muted.
If you meet your goals over the next 3 years, how big is your company going to be?
We're shooting for, over the next 3 years, I estimate the valuation of our company to be worth $100 million.
How much revenue will you have? How many customers?
Customers, I don't know. Revenue, forecasting 20 mil.
Guess we'll have to wait on that one if he makes it to round 2.
It's the chicken. Strikes again.
Killer chicken.
Are the judges supposed to strike any comments he made after the chicken?
Yeah, you're supposed to strike any comments after the chicken. So at least he got his valuation in, and then you'll have to decide if you want to give him a couple more minutes to talk about the math. All right, so I'll buy us a little time. Now the rooster's losing its mind on me. All right, so thank you guys, thank you Jenna, thank you Jaron, great job. Judges, remember we're taking our first 5-minute pitch video, which has a total score possible of 50, a lowest score of 10, and you're sending me that with who got the 5 points. So give me the total for each team in a chat. For those watching along, the reason why we have 6 judges this year is not because we don't understand swing votes. It's because our winner last year, Amy James, who's come back to judge, can't judge this round officially. She is scoring it, but she can't judge it officially because Streambed is built on top of the Open Index protocol. So to avoid those conflicts of interest, we've handled that with Connor Prochaska. So thank you for sending me those. I'm going to read them as I get them in. I've got one coming in right now, 40 to 32 going the way of Streambed. I've got a 45 to 40 going to Streambed. I've got a 42 to 26 going to Streambed, which means that although Elevated gave it a valiant effort, they will not be moving on to round 2. Sorry, Jaron. We'll have to see you in the Sandcastle Startups Alley in the VR Expo. Thank you, sir. By the way, since now he's lost, what I can tell you is I think his revenues far exceed 100 million if he doesn't screw it up. So the pressure's on you, Jaron. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity. You guys are great.
Awesome. All right, Jenna, congratulations. So we are into our final first round battle between True Reply and Engrave. Now, for judges, we are scoring this one because it's important for you to have a sense to look back on as we move into round 2. But these 2 teams by lottery won a first round bye. So you will see the same thing. You will score the same thing. You'll treat it as if one's going to be eliminated. Somebody will lose, but they will not be eliminated. So this battle coming up is our third battle between True Reply and Engrave. I'm going to go to the guys who are up at 2 in the morning their time and give Ruben the chance to call the heads or tails. Ruben, are you ready for the heads or tails, buddy?
I was born ready for this moment.
I love it, man. I love your energy, bro. All right, ready? Here we go. In the air, call it. What is it?
It's a tail, just like Scott talks about long
And
tail.
he wins the tail. It's a
I know,
tail.
man.
All right, you want to go first?
I knew it.
First or second?
Right, first.
Okay, all right. So we're going to queue up the 5-minute pitch from Engrave.
Great.
Video's ready. Here we go. Roll it.
Hi, my name is Ruben Merre. I'm co-founder and CEO of Engrave. What if I told you that you would rather leave your house without your spouse than without your phone? Think about that. We no longer go online, we live online. And that means we all have digital assets, but we don't really own any of them. So who does? Well, intermediaries such as Facebook own your identity, Google owns your search history, and banks own your money. Just think about Greece, where at some point you couldn't withdraw more than 50 euros a day. That's why blockchain technology came to the stage, to eliminate these intermediaries and to empower people to own what is theirs. But there's always a but. There's one thing that is holding blockchain back. Its biggest strength is also its biggest weakness. And before I tell you the cause, I want to show you the impact. Each year, a new record is set in crypto stolen around the world, with 2019 clocking $4.5 billion. And that's just crypto. If we look at cybercrime as a whole, projections for 2021 are $6 trillion. The root cause of these thefts lies with the cryptographic access keys to your digital assets, called private keys. No computer in the world can crack them, but why crack something if you can find it? And that's where the problem lies. From intermediaries managing your keys to yourself and even the most secure solutions, at some point in time, your keys will be exposed online. So the solution is simple. Never go online. And that is exactly where Engrave comes in. We have built Zero, a hardware wallet that works completely offline, from generating your keys to even signing transactions. It comes as the only product in the entire digital asset space with an EAL7 certification, the highest security certification in the world. Zero is even tamper-proof against physical attacks. And while all of this sounds complex, the interface is as smooth as it gets. Your coins are literally one tap away, and you don't even notice that there is any cryptography in the device at all. To top it off, we built a fully integrated end-to-end solution so that if you lose your Zero, there are still ways to recover your private keys, even beyond the most fatal of events, your own demise and the passing on of your keys to your children. Over the last 2 years, our team has proven that we know what we're doing. We've onboarded world-leading players and thought leaders as partners. We have built the product, and we are weeks away from worldwide shipping. We even showed we can market, posting the most successful crypto pre-sales campaign on Indiegogo ever. And we also love to innovate when it comes to money. By partnering up with online platforms, we can offer their huge number of users the one thing these platforms cannot provide: true security. We also look beyond just making one-off sale. For example, our solution enables you to trade offline, on which we take a transaction fee. Aggregating our monetization efforts, we are confident to make $100 million in revenues by 2025. We're weeks away from shipping worldwide today. In 2021, we'll start integrating with online platforms and DeFi projects. We will also be expanding on features to make Zero the universal wallet. 2022 will be our year to build out the B2B vertical. After that, we'll integrate post-quantum cryptography resilience. And eventually, our aim is to provide wallets also to the unbanked and the underbanked. So, we've thought about the impact of our solution, and the pros vastly outweigh the cons. Whereas criminals might use our solution too, it doesn't compete with securing online lives, protecting financial wealth and personal data, and more. Current market solutions resemble the typical MVP, whereas we have now built the best solution from both a security and a user experience standpoint. It is also the only end-to-end solution available. This positions us well to become a leading player in a market that will reach $9 billion by 2025. I really want to highlight the importance of Jean-Jacques Wiskrater as well, second reference of the Bitcoin paper, as an important member of our team. He has been in cryptography and blockchain since the very beginning, is cited in over 30,000 papers, and has officially put his shoulders under our project to secure the future together. I also want to emphasize that we are not just able to build complex solutions, we're also experts in marketing them. For example, our pre-order campaign on Indiegogo raised $450,000 in a month, making us the most successful crypto campaign in the history of Indiegogo. And all of this during uncertain Corona times. To go truly global, we are looking to raise $5 million by Q1 of next year. If our story resonates with you, you know where to find us. Together, we can empower people to start truly owning what is theirs.
Awesome. Okay. Well, since we have another person in the white paper, I'm torn here. It's either Scott or Taras, but I'm going to go to Scott on this one for the first question.
Looks like terrific technology. Help me understand why, in the case, for example, that you cited, and I'm pushing your envelope a little bit here. You know, you cited about the fact that Google owns all your search data. I'm trying to understand whether you see a pathway that leads to your solution so that Google owns less of your search data and you own more of it. Did I miss something on that slide?
No, you did not. So basically, it comes down to what blockchain technology has in terms of potential. And if you think about it, blockchain can actually
Uh-oh. We can't hear him.
We're losing him.
Hey, sorry, no, I wasn't muted. I don't know what happened. Yeah, sorry, that's not a good start. Yeah, regarding to Google owning how we can actually take over Google's data. I would say at this point, this is more of an example. So it's more about explaining how people are basically leaving all their data out there for all of these third parties, so intermediaries. So I wouldn't necessarily focus on, let's say, how Google does it. It's more about making you conscious of the fact that any kind of data you have today online is basically at risk. It's basically not owned by you. It's owned by intermediaries. It's owned by anybody else but you. You can ask, for example, Facebook to accept your password and get access to the platform, and you can request a change to your digital identity, but they own your identity. They can at any point in time tell you you never existed, you were never a part of this platform, and we actually own, let's say, Scott Stornetta on Facebook. And that is what it's about. And Google example is one of those examples. A bank is another example. But it all comes down to your data is not owned by you, and that's something that needs to change. It needs to be you who decides who takes ownership of your assets. It's you who decides is anybody else even allowed to do anything with it.
Yeah. So how has your team provided a truly verifiable way to ensure that? Because there's all sorts of attacks these days: spoofing, phishing, middleman attacks. You know, especially with AI getting smarter, voice recognition, voice mimicry, deep fakes, where they can actually take your entire image and broadcast it so it looks like you're actually talking. How are you going to ensure that this is actually verifiably proven through your technology?
Yes, perfect question. So that's the first thing we asked ourselves, and also the biggest takeaway we had from the very beginning. It is that as soon as you go online, it's game over. You lose. So we set out to build a solution that needed to be offline at any point in time. And what I mean with that is your private keys have to be created offline, and they should never at any point in time go online. So we sign transactions offline, we make your keys offline, but it doesn't end there. If we just think about the first step in starting to truly owning what is yours, it is how do you create those private keys? And if we go to the most advanced solutions in the market today, we talk about hardware wallets, just like the one we built. The difference is that these existing wallets, they all rely on true random number generators, which have been proven to have backdoors. You can do a simple Google search and you can find that. So what we have done, for example, there is we have included in this internal process in the chip also external factors. For example, your biometrics, so your fingerprint, are part of the key generation process. The ambient light surrounding your device, measured by the camera, is part of the process of generating your key. So that's the first thing we do, basically to remove backdoors. And the second thing is that existing solutions, they give you a key. So that means that they might have a database of all the keys they ever made. So what we do there to make sure that you are the only one who knows your key is we have basically invented a interaction process, a very smart interaction process with the key, so that eventually by the end of the process, you know that there is nobody else, not even us, who can know your key. And we've built that together with COSIC, which is one of the leading research teams in cryptography in the world.
What's the best evidence you have that your customers will pay what you want them to pay?
Well, we've actually launched a pre-sales campaign in June, and we raised a record amount of sales. And that's my time. Q.
My chicken fell asleep. He didn't go. Good job. Thank you, Ruben. All right.
Yes. Sorry for the hiccup.
Yeah, that's okay. They there you go. There's the chicken. Okay, next up, True Reply. We are ready, and we will go to the video as soon as I get the. All right, let's see it.
In a few short years, voice will be the fastest, easiest, and most powerful interface to everything you love doing with your devices today. Less touch, more talk.
Mark Cuban believes there's no future that doesn't have ambient computing or voice activation. And Gary Vaynerchuk, a passionate proponent of voice technology, believes that companies built on this technology, like the Alexa or Google Assistant, will be the size of Pandora, Facebook, and Instagram.
And the future these visionaries are talking about is coming faster than anyone truly appreciates. Since its introduction in 2014, the smart speaker install base has grown to over 157 million smart speakers in US homes alone.
Meanwhile, as of January 2020, there are over 2 billion voice-enabled devices worldwide, and that number is projected to reach nearly 8.4 billion devices by 2024. And the pandemic has accelerated the utility and value of voice, with overall usage going up 52% since the start of the pandemic.
What we're seeing supports a monumental shift, taking us into a new age of consumer engagement, data acquisition, and data analysis.
Our vision is True Reply, a complete solution that is accessible so that anyone, regardless of professional expertise, can launch voice experiences and connect with consumers in minutes. Secure enough for any industry and building towards a fully decentralized blockchain data structure, and flexible, a no-code platform that allows for whatever customizations and integrations are needed.
For those who want to launch voice apps, we've created a simple, quick way to define and launch your voice app that provides real-time access to engagement insights and participant data and makes exporting your data simple via CSV and automated API.
And on the consumer side, we've made a platform that easily supports engagements across any Alexa-powered device, any Google Assistant-enabled device or phone, as well as future consumer interfaces like VR, autonomous vehicles, and consumer robots.
We've put together a global team of channel partners, sales reps, and team resources that are helping build the momentum behind the True Reply solution and brand.
So without True Reply, launching cross-platform voice apps today has all the traditional hurdles you'd expect. There's engineering challenges, there's bloated budgets, and longer timelines to get that solution to market, as clearly shown here by our very frustrated project manager.
With True Reply, it's voice apps launched in 15 minutes for a simple flat rate per month. Voice apps that are simple to create and manage, fast to launch and gain insights, and robust enough to integrate with any other platform. Where we started. Born in 2017 with a focus in healthcare, we've driven innovation not only in voice technology, but also in the marriage of voice technology and blockchain.
How we've evolved. So we've leveled up our tech to create seamless integrations with any OEM voice AI and revolutionize the experience of launching a voice app.
Looking forward, we're introducing new and exciting voice data insights, driving voice data technology innovations such as real-time, AI-driven, tonal-based response analysis.
So whenever you create a technology to better understand a population, you immediately create a new mechanism to control it. We've been extremely mindful of this risk and are working on solutions to help mitigate it. Today, True Reply is built on a foundation that is HIPAA, COPPA, CCPA, and GDPR compliant. We're moving to data acquisition that's anonymous by default, with no personally identifiable information collected, and a consumer-driven mechanism for purging your own personal data from our entire system.
There are a few direct competitors in the voice data space, but none have focused their efforts in giving the everyday, non-technical person a simple and powerful solution to voice apps and voice data insights.
So we're very proud of our groundbreaking firsts. We were the first voice solution to be featured in a special report published by the National Organization for Rare Diseases, as well as having the honor of presenting to the FDA as part of their Innovation Path meetings.
We launched the first and only incentivized surveying solution to Amazon, allowing anyone to earn money by answering surveys via any Alexa-powered device.
And through voice rewards, we were the first to bring cryptocurrencies to voice-based devices in a meaningful way. With voice rewards, consumers can earn Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, or our own research token, the Reply token, using just their voice to answer surveys via the Alexa.
And our customers love us. In market research, the head of innovation at SMG said TrueReply provided qualitative research at quantitative scale.
And in healthcare, the founder of the HNF Foundation experienced eye-opening insights as a result of using TrueReply in her patient studies.
In entertainment, the founder of the LTHJ group sees TrueReply as a game-changing way to interface with her audience. Our ask, well, first, we'd love to connect with other projects and help give projects a voice via Alexa, Google Assistant, and beyond.
And we're also looking for market partnerships, ideally in marketing, entertainment and media, and healthcare.
And finally, complimentary investor introductions who can help us grow. And on behalf of all of us at TrueReply, thank you.
All right, the chicken works again. Judges, it's to you.
Okay, easy entree for non-technical people, but isn't there going to be an 80-20 rule where the ones that are creating the most value, that's not the thing that's holding them back? It's the ability of your platform to allow them to customize and create great feature sets, even if it takes a little more effort.
Yes, and that's actually a great point. We had our beginnings within the healthcare space, which is where our kind of our secure mentality comes in. And there are a lot of different demands, different integrations, and different requirements across different healthcare studies. So while our platform provides kind of a level 1 launch a voice app in 15 minutes, we also have 3 additional tiers, which we call the agency and enterprise integrations. The platform itself fully supports third-party integration, so we can either directly integrate data experiences to push out to your third-party system, or have real-time integrations with third-party IP. For example, we can provide a voice layer for many fintech AIs projects we're in the middle of piloting right now. So it's not just the 15-minute. The 15-minute thing is really your base level experience. We've got a lot of layers within our platform that allow us massive customization opportunities in a much simpler way than dropping a bunch of engineering time.
So in terms of your sustainable competitive advantage, elaborate on the connection between voice and healthcare. I didn't get that.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And it calls back again to our roots when we started really with a platform that allowed healthcare practitioners to launch voice-based healthcare studies in about 2 or 3 minutes flat. And really it was about looking at a space where we've got people that lack technical expertise, yet because of patients, especially in the rare disease space, living with a lot of severe symptoms burden, voice becomes an ideal kind of engagement channel for that. And so we modeled a lot of our early innovations around that ideology. So really allowing a practitioner to go in and launch a healthcare study within, a few minutes.
And so you're developing a sales team that's going to really be soliciting healthcare providers, folks with disabilities, probably people with mobility issues. And how are you going to target them?
That's actually,
yeah,
let me jump in. I was going to say that's actually only one vertical, and the target really is for building. There's a lot of sub targets within that, like building clinical studies and also patient monitoring and things like that. But it's just one of a play for entertainment and media, and especially market research, where there's been a big play and brand recognition and awareness and things like that. So there's a lot more avenue there. But in the healthcare space, You know, there are so many foundations that deal with so many different diseases where this has a applicability in, and it makes it easy for them to leverage that and push that out to their constituents or to their partnerships.
Can you bring, sorry,
Go ahead.
Just in the gaming industry, are there applications that you have envisioned?
I have, you know, being a gamer, the first experience I had with voice in game was actually Skyrim, where you could call out certain things. And I feel like there is going to be interactivity, just like you have interactivity with amiibos and things like that on the Switch. I believe that there will be, you know, Stadia connections to the Google Home, and there will be connections with Alexa to different gaming platforms as well, where you can call out to your Alexa and you can collect data from that, or you can have certain integrations with TrueReply where there's webhooks that they're pulling data from that and integrating it directly to your game.
It seems to me that game coaching might be an area that would apply this to.
That is very cool. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, what we've done is really focus on establishing kind of this core foundation in tech that's super easy to use and build on top of, so that we can better align with all these different use cases across different markets. And one of the reasons we took that approach is really because voice is really at the early stages of consumer adoption, even though we've got this explosive saturation of voice tech. And there's different markets that are moving at different speeds to leverage that technology. So that's we've focused really on making the technology super easy to integrate, and there goes the chicken.
The rooster.
That was great stuff. Good job. All right, judges, we're back to what you know. We got a potential best score on the 5-minute pitch video for each of these teams of 50, a low score of 10, and then one of these teams did better in the Q&A in your mind, and so you'll add that bonus 5 to their score, and you'll send me the totals in the chat. And while we're waiting 30 seconds for those scores to come in, we'll remind everybody that this was a non-elimination battle because of the lottery seeding that happened. And so both of these teams, although one will lose, it's more directional and more competitive than anything else. They will all be part of the Final Four, which also includes Vinter Capital out of Stockholm and Streambed Media in the Final Four. So we are going to tally up these scores. I'll be looking at them quickly just to see who we had. I've got one score coming over right now that was 35-24 TrueReply. One judge is in. I'm waiting on the rest. I've got another score that was 41. Mr. Burton, I need your other score, but I'll wait for that. So I've got a 45-40 going to Engrave. So we got a 1-1 right now. I'm waiting on Amy's totals. All right, so I've got a 37-30 going to TrueReply. And Amy, let's see. So I've got a 40-30 going to Engrave. So we're back tied even. So I need that I need that final score, Mr. Burton, if you can send it. I've got your.
I sent it a couple minutes ago.
Oh wait, I gotta go back. Can you just pop it in again? I see yeah, sorry, just pop them next to each other so I can see it. I got a bunch of stuff in the feed. Now, while I'm waiting on that one to come across and the tension builds of who would have won this round, we're going to do a 3-minute halftime here. All right, Jeff, just tell me who you had.
Yeah. Okay, it was TrueReply 42, Engrave 41.
Oh, it was a close one. Okay. All right. Well, all right. So Final Four is about to begin, but before that, I'm going to welcome our one of our sponsors, a partner in the market, Sarah Fitzgerald, Chief Strategy Officer at Wyoming Business Council, who is part of the reason why this exists and part of the reason why all these startups are getting paid something tonight. And so we wouldn't be able to do this without you, Sarah. We've got a 3-minute clock. Production is going to count me down, and I'm going to chicken myself. And for those of you who need that are competing, if you need a drink of water or something, be back in 2 minutes and 52 seconds. Sarah, tell us about the mission that you guys have at WBC and why tech and diversity and this kind of thing is important to the state of Wyoming and to your efforts.
Yeah, great question. Thank you for welcoming me, and congratulations to all the companies that are competing. Each and every one of you are impressive, and what an exciting format. So just it's a heck of a time, and I'm very proud to be sponsoring this. The Wyoming Business Council's job is to create good jobs for Wyomingians. And tech plays a huge part in how we do that. Most of you probably know that back in 2019, in 2018, excuse me, the Wyoming legislature created 13 new laws that really make Wyoming pioneers in blockchain and in cryptocurrency. So we're very, very proud of that. And that's just one of the assets that we use to create good jobs in Wyoming. What we've done there and what we plan to continue to do is to continue being a pioneer in technology in Wyoming. And what we want to do is we want to partner with pioneers like yourselves, the companies that are here today, investors who are here today. We really want to be your partners because we can make things happen in Wyoming that other states can't make happen. We got those laws passed because there are 500,000 people in Wyoming. Our economy is open right now, almost completely open right now. You can go have a beer. My husband's out having a beer right now in Wyoming because there are 500,000 people in Wyoming. And so, that lifestyle that we're able to offer together with our really kind of progressive mindset when it comes to technology are something we're very, very proud of. That's right.
We're all gonna go have some beers that are in town right after this with Blue Ocean, who's our other sponsor, and we're gonna see you there too. And I got 27 seconds, so I do want to give Blue Ocean a chance because just like you, they've just been a great partner. They're committed for 4 years. I'm going to take that off when we have beers at altitude in a little bit on their dime as we welcome a bunch of the VIPs and meet and greet. But Blue Ocean Digital Management's a $60 million venture fund, and they are doing first right of refusals on deals coming out of Load and kind of Sandcastle, and we're excited about that. And there's the chicken. Halftime is over. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Josh Durrell. Thank you, Wyoming Business Council, and thank you, Martin Lay and Will over at Blue Ocean Digital Management for making this possible. All right, round two. First battle, True Reply versus Vinter. They don't get a break, Jose, over there.
That's all right. We'll take it.
All right. So I'm going to go with the underdog's going to go first. So by the seating. And so Vinter, we are going to queue up your demo video. And what's going to happen for those watching is now we're on a 10-minute clock, but it's going to start the minute the demo video goes. The demo videos that were submitted are show and tell so that we can see the products in action and give the judges more to ask questions about. But they're up to 3 minutes. So if they're shorter than that, that time goes back to Q&A on this 10-minute clock. The rooster's going to crow. Are we ready?
Ready.
Vinter demo reel coming now.
Let's go.
Vinter Capital is an index provider for capital markets. We sell curated price data based on the cryptocurrency market. The buyers are funds who use these prices to create financial instruments that track the performance of our indices. Therefore, it's crucial for us to offer continuity, stability, and to be transparent. This brings us to our core, the index methodology. Our provision of indices is based on it. It's a white paper describing our index algorithms, our selection criteria, and our governance procedures. Fund managers, exchanges, and issuers of financial instruments connect to Vinter crypto data in 3 ways. The first option is to download our data from our distribution partner, Reuters. The second one is to download daily price in CSVs from a user dashboard. And the third is to directly connect to our own API. We offer versatility to fit a variety of use cases. We have separate servers for database, analytics, API, data management, index, and monitoring. They all do different tasks and are separated for security and robustness. Vinter Capital's index platform has been developed in order to ensure compliance with the European benchmarks regulation. It extracts data from multiple exchanges and from multiple markets, all reviewed and approved in accordance with the company's calculation frameworks. It validates all received transactions and calculates the company's real-time rates, reference rates, and market indices. The platform has a web interface that allows you to select what exchanges and markets you want to extract data from, how often you want to extract data, how many records you want to receive, how long you want to wait for a response, and more. You can control what exchanges are allowed to contribute data to a specific reference rate, what time the reference rate should be calculated, and its calculation frequency. You can decide what currency you should use for the denomination of the reference rate, and more. The platform uses a microservice architecture with separate servers for database and calculation software. It has a failover database that continuously replicates the production database. The databases are emptied daily and continuous backups are taken. From the creation of our indices to the development of our index software, there's one common theme in what we do, and that is to be an onboard for traditional finance into the decentralized world.
Questions from our
All
judge?
right.
Who's going first?
I'll go
Amy.
first.
Yeah.
I am wondering, like, what keeps you guys up at night as founders? Like, what's the thing that scares you about how your business could grow?
I would say that one of the key things that we care about is growing the adoption overall of crypto. And something that we have seen is that it has been a bit stuck in the retail space. If you look at equities, about 11% is retail and the rest is institutional. But if you look at crypto, you could turn those around completely. And what we see is, in order for blockchain and crypto to really get adopted, you need to get everyone on board. You cannot only get like the small traders, you need everyone. So we're trying to make it in a way and a form that institutional investors are accustomed to, an index product, an ETP or an ETF. And that is, our goal is for that to be an onboard for them into the world of crypto. So that's what keeps us up all nights.
Can you talk about initial revenues and that growth path?
Absolutely. So we use a model that is quite used in the traditional index space, where we have a fixed fee and then an AUM-based fee. So it depends on the financial instruments that are following our indices. So at this point, we are currently talking with all the larger asset managers. There are 5 public traded crypto asset managers, and there are like 24 AIFs in Europe doing crypto right now. So while talking to them, and we see them as the lowest hanging fruit, we're also looking at the future market.
You have a presumption of the power of first mover advantage, and I'm not sure that I buy it. You know, I think that the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. So why is it true that the first that being first is going to an advantage?
I would say that one of the reasons that first mover advantage is important just in this field is firstly because of the customer retention rate. We have an incredibly high customer retention rate in this space with a 97% customer retention rate. Secondly, we are dead focused on crypto. We are one of the very few index teams in the world doing this, and one of the only ones being registered by the European Securities and Markets Authority. So being early in this space is a question about sustaining and growing with the market, but also there is a market right now. The global market for exchange traded crypto and IFs is $17 billion, and for exchange traded $1 billion. So while being a small market compared to the equities, it's a substantial market right now as well.
But I still haven't heard, is this sustainable? Yeah, there may not be much choice now, but when UBS gets into this or others, will that stickiness of your customer base remain?
Besides the retention aspects, I would say that while growing with the market also puts us in a position where we have right now built up a team with the industry leaders in this space, the industry leaders in the exchange traded crypto space, people like Laurent Kissis, who was the CEO of the world's largest crypto asset manager, coin shares. And together with those people and together with this market being this young, we believe that not only the retention rate, but also our knowledge in it will be a key factor for us to also survive when the larger players are going to come into it.
Another question. 2 minutes and 50 seconds.
I'm sorry, cumulative revenues since inception by the end of 2020?
So we have cumulative revenues. We have an MRR of about 10,000 right now in dollars, and we got approved by the ESMA in June, so 3 months ago. So from June was when we started to be able to sell the product, and before that. So the market is like this. In order to sell indices in Europe, you must be a registered benchmark administrator according to the benchmarks regulation. So there is an extremely large barrier to entry to do this. And to do this, you must go through about a year of application process. So we applied in 2019 and we got approved in June of this year. And then we just have started doing that. So we had a financing round last year when we raised just enough to get the license and to get the distribution deal with Reuters, which was our main goals. And what we're doing now is that we are using that momentum that we are the only Nordic and one of 3 European crypto index providers in total, where there is hundreds of on the equity side. So that's our position in the market right now. And we're moving into our second fundraising right now, where we have focusing on sales, basically.
So your projected revenues for 2021?
So our predicted revenues from now, we can see that if we get the current market, the revenues in there, it's about $3 million. Looking at the current market, and if we look at the potential, that is of course 70 times bigger than that. But if we look at the current, it's about $3 million.
So what about the ability, there are other assets that are moving onto the blockchain.
Yeah.
What about the ability to tap into that space, or is that too far afield of what you're trying to do?
No, actually, we are a crypto index provider, and that is our passion and that is our core, but we have a license to do all kinds of indices, really. And something that we actually are doing is we're talking about, we are talking right now to one of the regulated exchanges in London and about doing a tokenization on their exchange on real estate. So that's a project we are doing. And there are a lot of possibilities to do volatility indices, to do indices that go against a certain crypto. So we don't only need to do market cap indices. We can do much more interesting strategies with our license.
Good job. You got that in right before the chicken. Excellent. So True Replies demo video and Q&A will follow. We got the clock reset at 10. We good to go on the roll? Video's ready. Here they come. True Replies demo.
Welcome to the Road to SampleCon experience.
Welcome to Home Experiences.
Welcome to Sick Day Medical House Calls.
Welcome to the iHeart Pod.
Welcome to True Reply.
Hi there, my name is Jose, and I'm going to give you a quick peek into what it's like to use True Reply to launch and manage your voice apps. We've got a voice app here that's just about ready to go. It's called the All Home Daily voice app. It's for a local contractor, let's call her Lisa, who wants to deliver some value and stay connected with customers. Let's hear what that voice app sounds like now. Alexa, open All Home Daily.
Welcome to All Home Daily for your daily dose of home tips. All Home Daily is brought to you by Lisa's Whole Home Restoration. Ready for today's tip?
Exit. So that sounds okay, but I think with one little update, it'll be a little bit better. So why don't we dive in here? What you're looking at is our voice portal for this voice app. So we're going to click on Manage and go to Messaging Setup. And I think a slight change here will make it so much better. There you go. Great. Let's hear what it sounds like now. Alexa, open All Home Daily.
Welcome to All Home Daily for your daily dose of home tips. All Home Daily is brought to you by Lisa's Whole Home Restoration. Ready to hear today's tip?
Yes.
Today's tip is all about setting your alarm. First, when setting your alarm, make sure all ground floor windows and doors are secured. Especially with doors, wind is the most common cause of false alarms. That's it for today's tip of the day.
Exit. So that sounds good, but I think the welcome message is great, but unfortunately the tip is from yesterday's. So let's dive in here and update that tip of the day. So I'm going to go into engagement setup, and I have today's tip here on my notepad. So I'm just going to do a quick copy, and I'm going to paste it right in here in my first step. And I'm going to click save. Well, let's see what that sounds like. Alexa, open All Home Daily.
Welcome to All Home Daily for your daily dose of home tips. Ready to hear today's tip?
Yes.
Today's tip is how to check for toilet leaks. Remove the tank lid and pour in a dark colored Kool-Aid packet. Wait about 30 minutes without flushing the toilet. If any of the colored water appears in the toilet bowl, there's a leak.
Exit. Perfect. I think we're ready to launch now. As you can see, managing your voice apps with To Reply is fast, it's easy, and it's in real time. And it's a little bit of fun. I hope you enjoyed this quick peek. Stay healthy and stay strong.
All right, questions. A little bit of fun and laughter in that one. Questions for True Reply.
You all learned something. Come on.
I didn't know the toilet bowl, the Kool-Aid trick, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's that bathroom humor.
Amy, do you want to start?
I can go.
Or you
Sure.
can have- Scott's got one. We'll pass it to Scott.
So talk to me about how you compete or don't compete with, the Google, the Alexa and the others. Why aren't they going? Google is famous, or Amazon is famous for identifying some rising market and just wiping out that opportunity. How do you protect against that? How do you outrun that?
That's an excellent question, which is why we're basically voice assistant agnostic. So we've built our platform so there's a foundational AI and interface and all that logic that drives the experience, but then we plug in different virtual assistants and technologies. So for example, our platform today supports Amazon Alexa, Google Assistant, and Samsung Bixby, and you can even plug in telephone there as an interface, which gives you really the Amazon Alexa skill equivalent of an experience via any phone call.
Can you say just a little bit more about that on the phone call side? Give me some concrete example there. That sounds.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. As I mentioned in the last round, we started kind of in the healthcare space. And as you can imagine, between HIPAA and security concerns, Amazon Alexa and Google Assistant were never the first option that they wanted to utilize. So really, we plugged in telephone was one of the first interfaces we plugged in. And similar to what you experienced there in the demo, our platform will take the experience, your welcome messaging, your questioning, skip logic, and all these other things, all the other cool things that the platform can do, and commission a toll-free phone line, at least in North America, Canada, and the United States, and launch that entire experience for you within a couple of minutes. We do support 110 countries right now. They just don't all instantly commission a phone number. And we also do support 120 languages, by the way.
So I'm still a little bit confused about really what customers you're focusing on. So give me the list of the top 3 customers that you're focusing on and why you're focusing on them.
So we start. Yeah, hit it.
No problem. So, for example, in vertical of market research, you get a company. We did some work with like a Procter and Gamble, and they were very, very curious to hear about how True Reply could support gathering data on specific usage of products right at the point of engagement. And I think that was the key that was very intriguing for them, which was at the point of engagement when they're interfacing with that device, they wanted to understand about a consumer's usage of dish soap or a consumer's usage of a hair product. And what they did was they created this entire campaign with this experience, and they incentivized it, and they ran it, and they collected the data on this usage all through an Alexa portal. So that was just one example of it, and that's just one vertical that we're focusing on.
All right, so that, and the gains and pains you're creating for Procter and Gamble are what now?
No pains, all gains.
Or gains you're reducing, I should say. Yeah.
Well, really, it's about that point of experience. That really is the key in that particular example, as well as a few others we've done in market research, right? Which is, it's not the same as going to a computer and filling out an online form to provide customer feedback about, for example, what using the dish soap was like. And what Procter and Gamble wanted to see is, what is that like if while the person is washing their dishes using their dish soap, they're able to provide feedback using their voice because their hands are soaking wet and full of suds, and provide that kind of point of experience very close to that experience feedback that they were looking for. And again, that's just that one vertical in market research.
And one of the things that's important is that you're getting qualitative data, you're not getting quantitative. Although you can capture quantitative in Likert style response, you're getting real qualitative, and you're getting validation of that qualitative data. You're getting the ability to take people through a narrative for their product or their experience or whatever via skip logic and branching of the experience, all within their voice, right from their Alexa or Google or
Why
any
wouldn't
of the voice
this
interfaces.
be an excellent product for distance learning?
It definitely could be. We're actually prototyping something right now that we're calling EdForge, which is an amalgamation of a few different tool sets that I have discovered over the last few weeks of distance learning and homeschooling kids. Would be really helpful for my kids. So it's definitely a vertical that we're interested in, but really, and to hit, I think it was Corey's question really on the head, is we learned a lot in the last year and a half. And one of the things we learned as we started in healthcare was healthcare is a very long sales cycle. Meanwhile, market research and entertainment has a shorter sales cycle, and they're also moving quicker towards leveraging voice and these kinds of interfaces for their various campaigns. And that's a big reason why that's a strong focus of ours right now.
It seems,
go ahead.
Sorry, I just follow up with that because when I first saw what you guys were doing, I thought, the last thing I want to do as a consumer is have to answer questions from a product company about, a market research company. I won't do that on the telephone, and I certainly wouldn't do it on my Alexa. It's just irritating. And yet I think and also the price per month, $250 a month for one app seems awfully high if you hope that you're going to get some customers other than Procter and Gamble and places like that who can pay the request to quote.
It makes a ton of sense what you're saying there, and it makes a ton of sense because you've really only had the opportunity to experience.
It's tough to get a question at the end.
That was a good question too.
You're muted, Chris. We can't hear you.
Oh, no wonder I'm sitting here yelling at the rooster. All right. Well, that was what you call the heckle, but a loving one, Jeff Burton. And I know you mean it from a good place, and I know they're dying to answer it, but the rules are the rules. So hopefully they'll get the chance to answer it in the finals, but worst case, they're going to answer it in the consolation round. Judges, you will, this is easy. It's just binary. You're going to tell me which one impressed you more. Was it Vinter going to the finals to compete for the 12-5 top prize? Or is it True Reply? Who's going to the finals and who's going to the bronze round? We'll see what they say. Jeff Burton says True Reply, definitely. The heckler likes you anyway. All right. Who else has got it? We got one for True Reply. Corey Billington goes with True Reply. Scott Stornetta likes Vinter. Amy James likes Vinter. So it's going to come down to the fifth and final vote. Where you at, Taras? I'm looking in the chat. He's killing me.
We need a drum roll.
Breaks the tie. Okay, well, Vinter, hell of a job, and you still get to fight for.
That was tough. That was tough.
Yeah, that was a tough one. He didn't want me to put him on the spot like that, but he was dragging his feet over there. So Toronto, it's getting late over there in Toronto. Vinter.
No, I was noodling on who.
Yeah, I know. It's
different value props. They both had great presentations.
So different, such different spaces they're coming from. We can't just.
It's a tough one, but the good news is we're both gonna walk with more money than they came in with. And Vinter, you did a great job. You're going to be battling for the bronze in the flurry round coming up here. But we got one more battle to go between Engrave and Streambed. So we're going to go start the demo round with Streambed production. Let me know when we are ready to go. Judges, get ready for some good questions. And Jenna, get ready for some awesome answers. Ready? Are we good with the video for Streambed's demo? Good to go. Here we go. Streambed, start the clock.
Once you sign into Streambed, you'll see your custom dashboard. You'll see your videos in your content stream on the right and your analytics in the middle. When you unselect all, the analytics reset to 0, and if you select 1 or 2 videos, the analytics adjust. There's an Analytics tab and Activity tab here. Analytics will show you your audience growth over time, and Activity shows you what other Streambed users are posting. Before posting a video, you have to link your accounts. You do this by clicking on the profile icon, View Profile, and then Edit Linked Accounts. Move the slider beside YouTube to the right, and then connect your Gmail account. Once that's connected, you can upload a video by clicking the Upload icon. The fields are the exact same as YouTube's fields, so fill those in. The fields for uploading on all social media platforms will look exactly like what you're used to seeing on the individual social platforms, so it's super easy. Once you're done, you'll see this screen where you can add as many co-creators, publishers, or sponsors as you'd like. All you have to do is add their names, email addresses, and titles. This will allow them to see the analytics in real time for this video. The people who you tag will receive this email to verify their role. All they need to do is click "Yes, this is me," and they'll get a prompt to view the public page that verifies when the video was published, by who, and with what collaborators. Interested in the blockchain? If you click "Here's the proof," you're taken to a Flow Block Explorer that will show you the transaction of where your metadata is stored. It's encrypted to protect you and your information. This block is now awaiting confirmation, so if we were to come back in 20 minutes or so, it would be green and the block would be secured. Our next feature, called the Stream, will give verified collaborators and publishers access to a catalog that lists all the videos they participated in or created, allowing them to show an immutable record of their online creations.
Right, here we go. Question time. Crickets. Did they answer? All right, so Connor, you haven't asked a question yet, my friend, and you're the swing vote on this one. I'll let you think of one if you have one. But since Amy, you can't swing this one because it's built on Open Index. Why don't you fire off a question since you might have a good one to tee up the combo?
Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry. Thank you. Okay. So I'm curious, like when I put a collaborator into that field, like what happens after that? And then how do they get notified and why would that help them be onboarded?
Yeah, so when you tag a collaborator, you put in their username or you just put in their name and their email, and then it will send them an email that says, hey, you've been tagged as a collaborator. Can you verify that it's you in the video? And this is really important because the public indexing page that we create is obviously public. Anyone can view it and you could share it. So if you scroll down in that indexing page, it'll say, here are the verified contributors to this piece of media. So if we took this webinar, for example, and published it on YouTube, we could tag all of the different competitors, we could tag all the sponsors of the WYO Hackathon, and all of those people would be able to immutably verify themselves with the fact that they competed in the Sandcastle challenge, or the fact that they participated on a panel earlier in the WYO Hackathon, or they sponsored it or whatever. And they'd be able to see all the analytics that the publisher sees in real time. So there's the two-way verification, which these creator pages will show you a record of all the different conferences you spoke at. Like how many of you, obviously people here speak at conferences pretty often. How many of you have found videos of yourself online that you didn't know existed? Right. And so that is a perfect example of how this almost it looks like an immutable IMDb, because it pulls all of that information down. It's important to note that you can become a verified contributor without becoming a user. The only reason you would need to become a user is if you want to see the analytics in real time.
Cool.
That's
So
questions from anyone else.
The question I have is for Haska.
Is what, sorry?
When you're talking about audience, we know touches and all audiences on different platforms are not all created equal. Is there a way, and how far down can you dig down in those metrics to understand and make that a useful tool?
So we get the information directly from the YouTube API or the Twitter API or the Instagram API about how different users interact with things. You would be able to create a custom dashboard as to like how those metrics are combined, because obviously every marketer wants to know different things. They want to be able to say, okay, I have YouTube metrics that I'm valuing this at the same as this, so that we're not comparing apples to automobiles. And that customization piece is really important so that those metrics can be correlated. But because we publish them all to OIP in the same way, when we pull them down again, they're all in the same language. Does that make sense? Did that answer your question? Perfect.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, what's your customer acquisition cost, projected revenue, current? I mean, you said 5,000, but when you actually get to a real burn, what's your burn rate? And then I had one more. And what's your value per customer?
Okay, so you said, I'm just writing this down. You had burn rate, value per customer. So it's free to be a user. So it's
right.
Users don't pay to use the platform. They publish as much as they want. They have as many contributors as they want. Burn rate, we are raising a financing round right now, and the projected monthly burn is about 40K a month. That's the ideal. And then you were asking about customer acquisition. So because every time, a conference, for example, our go-to-market strategy is two-pronged: conferences and agencies. With conferences, they tag, WYO Hackathon has 100 speakers. They tag those 100 speakers, and like, I don't know about you guys, but like most speakers are really vain. So we all want to know where our content is and what happened to it. So they click to become a user because they want to know what's happening. And so the invitations to join the platform for new users come usually from verified contributors. That's our biggest source of user growth. And then as far as customer growth, that falls into the agency and influencer model. So agencies have established relationships with, say an agency has 20 influencers and 10 brands. The agency would pay to have access to those 30 accounts, the content that those 30 accounts puts out. And then they would pay a monthly fee to do that. Because right now, I don't know how much you guys know about influencer marketing and agencies, but influencers online still send screenshots of their Instagram data to their agencies, to brands, and then it probably goes through 2 more agencies. And then the CEO of company A says, okay, am I cool now? And the graph is always up and to the right. So nobody actually learns anything because it goes through everybody's graphical engine that makes it look better. So this gives real-time immutable data.
What key partners do you have to acquire that you haven't acquired yet? And how's that going?
So what do you mean, what key partners do we have to acquire? So we are in the process of accessing the different social media platform APIs. That has proven to be it's usually just a time thing. They have no problem giving us access to the API to publish. And then it's correlating the data across those platforms. So those are the API access to these different social media platforms. They are very walled garden, but because of our team's expertise, Michael has been a journalist for 20 years. Bill Rositsky, our chief revenue officer, was the global VP at Adobe in enterprise sales. So we're deeply ingrained in Silicon Valley, and we believe that. So the Google verification, for example, is supposed to take 6 weeks, and we got access to the API in 10 days. So, or we got our app verified in 10 days. So that's just an example of new partnerships that are to be forged.
So you don't have any partnerships that are pending, or you have all
pending? Yes. So we, as I said, we've confirmed CoinDesk in a 2-year deal to publish all of their media. So they put out 4 massive events a year that generate, I think Consensus generated 26,000 hours of hours of content. And then from there, we are working on 2 large proposals, one with a large media buyer and one with a large video conferencing company that I can't tell you about, but it's really relevant to this whole webinar thing. So we're working on what an integration with them would look like.
And how do costs scale up with the more content you have coming into your system? I mean, is it like linear progress on costing, or is it algorithmic based on the complexity of the data that you're feeding into the data set itself?
So the more data points we can get correlated, I'll answer this really quickly. The more data points we can get correlated on our end, the better. The biggest problem that we have is storage. So we've actually decided to use SIA, a decentralized storage option, to offset a lot of the cost. It takes our AWS from $90 a month to $5 a month.
That was a great way to finish, Jenna. Good job. You got the numbers
Thank
in
you.
right at the end. Nice work. Great question too by Taras from the Wings. All right. Engrave, right ahead. We're ready for the Engrave demo and the 10-minute Q&A to finalize the final 4 bracket. Are we good to go on production and roll the Engrave show and tell? Let's play it.
$44,000 Ethereum. That's how much my previous project was hacked for.
As you know, this is not the only case.
That's why we created Engrave.
Our mission is to empower you to truly own your cryptocurrencies in a secure and intuitive way. Unlike traditional hardware wallets that still need a connection, imagine one where all connectivity is removed.
No Wi-Fi, no NFC, no Bluetooth, no USB. We did it, and we call it the Engrave Zero.
We removed all online vulnerabilities. Your keys are never exposed, ever.
Even if someone gets their hands on your Zero, the device is designed to detect any intrusion, and it will wipe all the keys.
We developed our solution with world-leading institutions, and our secure firmware has earned a certification higher than banks. That's how serious we take security.
Transactions are made swift and simple using our mobile app and QR codes. Scan a transaction request, verify and sign it offline, and send the signed transaction back to the blockchain. Your phone has zero information on your private keys.
But it doesn't stop there. If you lose your hardware wallet, you need a timeless backup. Therefore, we created the Engrave Graphene. No more paper wallets. From now on, you can recover your keys from our stainless steel encrypted puzzle.
Le produit Engrave, c'est la solution pour garder vos tokens et votre crypto-monnaie dans un lieu sûr.
To ensure a great customer experience, we involved the end user throughout the entire process. Because of our journey, we deeply understand the need for quality assurance, which is why we make our products in Belgium, the heart of Europe.
Never settle for less. It is here and now that you can take control of your money, control of your identity. Blockchain is just getting started. No more collusion of the centralized. Technology is nothing without the people, nothing without the resonance of our everlasting disagreement with the status quo. To accelerate adoption, we need a revolution in empowerment, something more secure, something more convenient. This year, this month, this day, start truly owning what is yours.
And it all starts with Zero and Graphene. We are ready to secure the world. Are you ready?
Real question is, are the judges ready to finalize these questions?
Oh, yeah.
Well, ready or not, here I come. You know, great technical product. And I take the point about wanting to cross over from the hardcore to the grandmother crowd. But it's very difficult, in my experience, to explain that value proposition to the grandmother crowd, why they should be worried about this, and why this is going to not only solve a problem that's kind of like selling insurance, but make their life easier. How do we do that?
So your question is, how do we sell this device to the grandma in the room? Or let's say to people who are not.
As you move from the people that really care about this,
yes,
whom you've struck a great resonance with, okay?
Yep.
How do you cross over into that mainstream? And again, I ask it as a sincere, open-ended question. How are you going to sell to that broader group?
Yep. No, it's a great question. And I think it's basically comes back to the overall adoption curve of blockchain as a whole as well, because we're talking about a problem that people don't even know they have let's say in the traditional world.
That's really what I'm after. Yeah.
And especially if you look at Belgium, where we're from, where it's 3 at night, and I'm trying to stay awake to answer your questions. The problem, for example, in our country is that if we go about and talk about this product, or even if I go and I give university lectures about blockchain, about cryptocurrencies, the first thing I always ask is, who's heard of this? And the answer is maybe one person in the whole room lifts up his finger. And the truth is that in our country, people are very, very risk averse. So it's already difficult for them to invest in stocks, in ETFs, let alone in crypto. So the question you're asking is for us basically even going as far as how can we sell this to, let's say, an audience that is in the US and that's of which maybe like a few percent of the population already have heard of it, know about it, maybe owned it, to how do you sell it to a country like Belgium, where it's very risk averse? And then again, how do you sell it not to the tech savvy, but basically to the people who at some point will need it? And I think this will have to follow the adoption curve of crypto. Today, we are basically even early in the market. If we think about tokenization, so basically assets moving to the blockchain, we're talking about a few billions of dollars that have actually done that. If we think about what McKinsey and BCG in their research are projecting for the next years, they're seeing an increase from a few $1 billion to over $30 trillion in the next 8 years. And we're talking about not only your bank account will be on the blockchain, but your real estate, your diamonds, your gold. Today, we are already working with the diamond industry in Belgium. We're working with gold, stable coins, and so on to basically protect what is going to be on the blockchain. But the truth is, today, it is not on the blockchain. So I think while you're asking the right question, you're asking it at a moment that we are actually way ahead of the market. We today have to secure, let's say, end users. But even if you think about B2B, Facebook is coming up with a Libra. It's around a year ago. They're still nowhere, and it's all because of this adoption curve that is lagging behind the fact that we are already here. And so while your question is one of the best questions you can ask, because at some point this will become super relevant, and that's why we already thought about it today. And so we have built a solution that is so secure that we can actually start saying security is a hygiene factor. we no longer have to talk about security. Now we talk about user experience. And that's exactly how our product is built. We build it even with people who had nothing to do with blockchain. I actually asked my mother to use this device and see what she thought about it. And she actually told me, like, what is so special about it? It's so easy, it's so simple. And that's the exact goal of what we had in mind. People don't need to know it's cryptography. They don't need to know it's blockchain. They don't need to know anything about that, but they need to know that if their data are online or their assets are online, that they are vulnerable, and more specifically, the private keys. If the private keys are not online, then it doesn't matter. You can have everything online. You can have real-time consultation of your wallet. You can sign transactions, and you can have peace of mind, and that's the only thing what matters for the end user. So I believe we are going to get there over time, and we already think with that in mind. But today, it's not about convincing the grandmas. It's about convincing the people who have cryptocurrencies and are actually having problems with that security. Those are the people we sell to today. The grandmas, and let's say general population, are people we will sell to in the future.
How do you deal with the super micro issue that happened recently with the major chip manufacturers and the motherboard manufacturers, where the hardware itself is tampered with so that there's spyware incorporated?
Yep. Yeah, so that's also a part that I answered in the previous round. So we actually are the only solution right now that effectively and transparently takes out these backdoors. And we do that in a very transparent way. And we actually include external factors to the key generation process. So it's not just the internal chip that creates the key, it's the chip together with you in real time who's actually creating the private key. And that's crucial because otherwise you already fail at the first step. And all of these existing solutions, they make keys online, or they make keys from purely the internal chip, which is backdoored. So exactly, a very good point. These solutions are basically already starting from the wrong position.
Does it only, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Does it only work with Bitcoin right now, or are there other coins that it works with? And how do you add them?
Yeah, the beauty is that we actually have also thought about, let's say, the memory, which is also a problem with the existing solutions. So with us, it's in the gigabytes. We have no limitations when it comes to cryptography. We have everything already in the device. If we talk about, let's say, post-quantum cryptography, then we can update the device through firmware updates, which we've done through a USB connection that is basically completely sandboxed from the rest of the device. So that's also why we certified the device EAL7, the high security certification in the world. And I have to stop. Yep.
All right, that was great. So, judges, it's binary. We're coming down to the final 10 minutes of this awesome event. Thank you, guys. So, give me the goods. Was it Streambed who won this round, or was it Engrave? Put them in the chat for me. We'll rapidly do that. I've got Streambed with a 4-1 take. So, I would call that an upset, but I am that's why I don't judge. So that's awesome. So we're gonna keep this going right away, and the chicken is killing me. Congratulations, Jenna. So that means that the next round is Engrave against Vinter. The battle for European supremacy is upon us. That's awesome. So our swing vote for the battle for Europe is going to be Amy, and then our swing vote for the finals between Streambed and True Reply will be Connor. So let's tee up the rap battle. All right, so here's how this is going to go, judges. You're just going to sit back and watch, and you're going to decide again who you think won this round and who deserves it overall. This is a battle for an extra $500. The loser of this battle will walk with $2,000. The winner of this battle will take bronze and $2,500 US dollars. And we're going to be queued up. So I've got Marco and I've got Ruben. And here's how it's going to go, guys. Please set the clock to 5 minutes. That's okay. I'm looking at it. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Vinter, because I'm going to give Ruben a second to catch his breath after that awesome flurry there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a number, and it's going to be somewhere between 10 seconds and 60 seconds. And we're just going to run this clock down to 0. You don't know what you're going to get, and I'm not going to give you the same thing at any given time, and it's all off feel. You just have to sell me in that time period and the judges on why we should pick you. So anything's fair game. Are we ready, judges? Competitors, are we ready?
Yeah.
All right, Marco, I'm going your way first. You have 15 seconds. Clock goes now.
Okay, so we learned that buying indices takes a long time for funds and asset managers, and that's why we are selling indices like you sell a subscription. So as the market grows, we're going to upset the incumbents. We're going to disrupt them because they sell the old slow way.
All right, Ruben, go. 30 seconds.
Because for the first time in history, it is possible for everyone, including the judges and the people in the audience, to start truly owning what is yours. And this is thanks to Engrave.
I didn't use all his time. All right, 30 seconds. Go, Marco.
Okay, and also I want to acknowledge that both Winter and Engrave are companies that I see really synergistic with. We work to grow the market, and our goal is to grow with the market, just as Engrave. So this is just a run for both.
All right, you guys aren't using all your time. You got to come up with longer sound bites. 60 seconds, Ruben. Take us to 3 minutes.
Yeah, so our vision is that everybody in the world, rich or poor, is empowered and able to truly own what is theirs. If they invent something, even if they live in a village in Africa, they should get married for that. Blockchain allows for that by recording it in Universal Ledger. These people need access to that ledger, and that's what we aim to do. And we aim to get a universal wallet to everybody. We start in a sort of a Tesla model, where we basically start with, let's say, a solution that is more expensive than what I have today in the market, or that is also close to perfection. And we kind of have to run down to, let's say, the Model E and so on, to be able to give also everybody in the world basically access to an interface with the blockchain where they can actually own their own assets.
You got 10 more seconds. How you want to use them or you want to pass them?
Sure. So for us, it's really about pioneering and perfecting digital protection so that people can take true ownership of what is theirs.
Awesome. Marco, take us to 2 minutes.
Absolutely. So if we look at the market right now, we have some of the incumbents, MSCI, FTSE, S&P. They don't do crypto as they do today. But then we have players like MBIS, CF Benchmark. We see that this market is growing. They are great. CF Benchmarks, they were acquired by Kraken last year for $100 million, and they do exactly basically what we do. So this is something that tells to the potential of this market. And this is something that tells to the potential of this third category of collective investments in crypto products, a way to go from being something for crypto nerds like us people here to a bit more mainstream, to the actual institutional funds, to making it as normal as investing in any other assets, making it as accepted as investing in any other asset, because doing that is the only way we can actually grow this market altogether.
All right, Ruben, tell us how you guys collectively can make the world a better place starting in Europe. 30 seconds, take us to the 20-second mark.
Yeah, so I think we have to take a step back and think about, let's say, the audience we have today, right? Everybody who has cryptocurrencies, and I think everybody here in the room likely has some or at some point had some, knows what it feels like to go on an exchange. If you go on an exchange or any of these online platforms, let's say an exchange, the first thing you do is you go and look at your balance, and not to see how much it is and if it's increased or decreased, but if it's still there. And that's the itchy feeling, the anxiety we all have. And that's the one thing that hardware wallets.
Marco, sorry, Ruben. Marco.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Marco. Final 30 seconds. Take us. Final 30 seconds. Sell the judges. Sell America. Sell the world. Sell Wyoming.
If you believe in crypto, you will need to have traditional finance to get on board, and we will be this bridge for traditional finance to finally get into the world of crypto and to blockchain assets. We will increase volume in the assets. We will increase acceptance in the assets and the asset. And that is something that is of crucial importance. Well, the liquidity raises, people accept it. And that goes down to the core. Will crypto be relevant? That's the grand question that we want to have a resounding yes to.
All right.
And that's why we exist.
Ruben, finish us off, buddy. Take us home. Tell us why they got it wrong, and you should be in the finals. 20 seconds. Finish us off, my friend.
Yeah, I want to add to that. So if you believe in crypto, that means you need to think about the adoption hurdles. And the biggest one today or the biggest ones are security and user experience. And those are exactly the two that we take away.
All right, well, there you have it, guys. The rooster didn't even need to go. Judges, put it in there. Who takes third in your mind? These guys were working hard. It's 3 in the morning, 3:15 in the morning. Give them a hand, judges. Give them a hand for them so they can hear it. It's not easy to do this in general, let alone when you're on fumes. So I've got Engrave Vinter by a stroke of one. Belgium beats Sweden, but it was wonderful to have you both here. God bless you guys. Thank you guys so much. I love your projects. I love what you're doing. And Wyoming and Sandcastle, thank you for being here. Congratulations for the effort. If you want to go to bed, we understand. But we got one last battle, 10 minutes. We'd love everybody to hang in there. All right, let's cue it up. I've got Jenna and Jose in the screen. Final battle. I'm waiting for the team to tell me we're good to go. Okay, you guys ready?
Yeah,
all right. All right, I'm going to Jenna first. You got 20 seconds. Pitch me.
So Streambed is an inclusive environment for everyone. Anyone can participate in the Streambed network. Anyone's network can be valued as a user, and we don't discriminate based on price.
All right, Jose, she gave you extra time. Take us to the bottom of 4.
4 minutes. All right, TrueReply is the Squarespace meets HubSpot of voice. And what that basically means is that we enable anyone to launch a voice app within 15 minutes. And that single sentence has profound implications across markets, across segments, especially in a world like today where no touch is super important. Voice is that next interface, and TrueReply has enabled anyone from the researcher in Idaho to the farmer in Ohio to be able to launch a voice app without having any technical knowledge and be able to create that communication, that relationship with customers and people that they may
stop. All right, stop. Jenna, 60 seconds or 56.
So Streambed is a way to empower people to lend their audiences to the causes that matter to them. So what I was talking about, our consumer marketplace, is that companies are actually offered the ability for the first time ever to connect directly to consumers. They're able to sell their data to corporations that they are verified purchasers of, that they publish about, regardless of what their follower count is or how many views they get on their videos. We measure based on engagement rate, and we measure based on a specific set of metrics that determine whether a person is real or not. Immutable data is needed in this era of social media, fake news, misinformation. We need a reputation layer for the internet. We will serve a key Web 2 to Web 3 transitionary role in being a tool that both provides immutability to the existing providers and provides publishing to—
Go, Jose, 20 seconds, go.
While the front end and the voice is only part of the experience, the other side of TrueReply is the understanding and data collection side, where we hit multiple levels of reporting in real time, where you can not only see what participants are saying, see what engages are doing, but you can actually analyze that data.
Stop. 10 seconds, Jenna, go.
We use the blockchain.
Jose, 30 seconds, go.
We bring the blockchain to the masses simply through our Voice Rewards program, which is powered and enabled by TrueReply. Anyone in their homes from Budapest to Canada can earn Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Ethereum using just the power of their voice to take surveys, answer questions, and get paid.
All right, 45 seconds, Jenna. You got 12.5 on the line, go.
Our companies pay us in dollars and we pay out in dollars. So as the TikTok Creator Fund works and as the Facebook contributor feed works, our customers will be able to directly connect with those who are verified purchasers, those who are publishing already about the brands that you like. Why should my Instagram post that I'm wearing Lululemon on the street and my friends engage with it not be valuable data to a company? In effect, my closest relationships, being able to quantify my closest relationships with this multi-tiered data structure Those are the most important relationships. Who do you go to when you need to buy a new tool? I go and ask my dad. He's not a hammer expert.
Jose, go. You got 50 seconds.
What to do next?
Completely device agnostic. We don't care who wins the device war, whether it's Amazon, Alexa, Bixby, or that Mercedes-Benz AI that's coming out. Any of those devices can be plugged into our platform within minutes, and we enable anyone to reach out and connect with people with those platforms. So that means that Tesla and Amazon announcement that was just made today, you can launch a voice app tomorrow with someone who is stuck in traffic in their Tesla, being able to interface with your brand, being able to give you data, being able to give you responses, being able to experience whatever your brand's about, just with the power of their voice.
Finish us off, Jenna. Take it home. It's yours to win or lose.
So Streambed is based on a public index, and public indices are the foundation of a free internet. Public indices are the way that we will take back the internet from Web 2 walled gardens that seek to destroy it. Web 3 apps need a transitionary tool like Streambed to gain user adoption, to gain traction in the markets, so that they can validate that all of these protocols, this whole protocol war that is going on, we are agnostic to the protocol war, because we can act as a service provider to help the Hootsuite, Sprout Socials of the world move over to a blockchain-based system that is both fair, private, and can compensate people for the data that they actually create. It's not about compensating creators, it's about compensating normal people for the content that they create.
That's it. All right, judges, put it in. You're picking 1 and 2. Who won? I need to know who won. Jeff Burton's got True Reply. Taras, Streambed. Connor, Streambed. Stornetta, Streambed. It's an upset. Streambed takes the title. Wow, Michael Casey smiling. Unbelievable, guys. Thank you so much. That was awesome. I did not see that coming. Jose, Jeremy, unbelievable. We love you. You know that. Been watching your project for years now. Thank you for being here. Truly, to everyone, I see Sindhu and I see the other teams that have been eliminated still here watching, and I can't thank you guys enough for being here. And for those in India, for those in Europe competing.
Great experience, Chris. Thanks.
Please get some sleep. And we're here for you. Let's set you up in Wyoming. Let's open some distribution for these European and Indian deals out in the Americas, and for the rest of you.
We'll bring Canada too.
For all the judges, thank you. Blue Ocean's happy to hand you out all the checks. Thank you, Blue Ocean. Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Will. And WBC, thank you for making it all possible. Good night, everybody. That's a wrap.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Congrats to everybody.
Thanks,
Good
guys.
night.
Thanks, folks.
Bye-bye.